What's up, guys? Rob D at BoilingPointLLC on Twitter, and of course the Swinging Crypto Discord. I'll leave a link in the description below. You can head over there and check it out. We do BTC, LTC, Ethereum Classic, Digibyte, Link. We also talk about some other altcoins. We talk about Dash, some Neo, ADA, XLM, some other stuff. But just quick update. I put a bot in there, so the bot is actually going to link to Dan Crypto Capital Venture. Some of his tweets will go up in there. His videos will get posted in there. So if you are in here, this will pop up in the general chat. Anytime Dan tweets, it pops up in here. And anytime he posts a video like, let's see, like this video here, it pops up right away. So over time, I'm going to implement, I'm going to get it connected to more YouTubers and more people on Twitter. This way we can kind of keep up with the news, important people in the community, people that, understand where the price is going and what's going on in the news. Over time, I have to pay for like premium membership with the bot to get that stuff sorted out. So once I get some funding together, I'm going to try to build this Discord out a little bit further. But yeah, we got that bot. And then I'm also using the CoinGecko bot. So anytime you come in here, you could basically just punch in, you can activate the bot and check whatever pricing you want. So I do that every morning just so we could get up to date with the pricing, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. I do that in all the chat rooms and stuff. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's growing out. There's about 45 people in there now. So check it out. I'll leave it, like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below. But today's kind of a sideways day. It's kind of cooling down right now. So I think it's a good time to kind of go over what could potentially happen. I've been tracking the Bitcoin dominance for quite some time. We were right around, we were somewhere in here. We were like putting in a potential cup and handle. That pattern kind of failed. We've been in this really long-term rising wedge, though, that we've been watching. So on the daily, we basically put in a bear flag, a bear pennant. We broke down bearishly from there, and then we hit our first target here of 63%, which is this top here where the swing high was, right there, and then a little bit of retesting here. So we got those taken care of and out of the way. I want to show you guys let's actually go out to the monthly. So we'll go out to the monthly. Actually, real quick on the weekly RSI, there's still plenty of more downside to come possibly. The RSI hasn't been oversold yet. We could definitely get much lower. We could get into that, sub 30 level. Right now we're sitting around 39.4 on the weekly RSI 18 period average. Typically people will use the 14, but I like to use the 18. It kind of cleans it up a little bit and gives you some better data points. So let's take a look at the month. Right here is the 63% Bitcoin dominance was the first target that we hit. We have to see how the monthly closes, if we close below that or not. But that's a key area because you have a swing high area here from back in August of 2018. And then you also have a wick there from May 19. You have a retest there in July of 19. You also have some wickage here from 2017. And you have some candle bodies up here and also some wickage in, towards the end of 2017 and going into 2018. So we have that stuff to look out for. If that area does not hold, we're going to look for a potential correction down to where these bodies are, right around 57% Bitcoin dominance. You had some wicking here, you had bodies here, wickage here, and then you had this pretty much this sideways movement from like the middle of 2018 up until the beginning of 2019, where there's a lot of wickage up there and there's a lot of candle bodies in that area. So that's going to be a key area to hold. And if that doesn't hold, you're going to probably look to this swing high over here from back in March of 2018, April 2018, right here, where we had that swing high, the swing low down there. Basically, that's what created the first couple lines of the rising wedge. So those are going to be the next targets if 63% does not hold. We could get a bounce from here, but we are definitely in like a rainfall effect here. One of those opportunities where you don't want to catch a falling knife. We still have a lot of pressure from the EMA ribbon, and we also have pressure from the 200 daily moving EMA, 200 daily EMA. Now that's starting to curve down. So we could, maybe see a bounce in the coming, I don't want to say days because this thing's been bleeding out for like 2 straight weeks. But if we do bounce, we could, bounce into that ribbon, maybe test the 200 and possibly see some rejection there. So the daily's pretty much oversold right now on the RSI. We still could go down a little bit lower. It hasn't been this low since let's see. It hasn't been this low since 2017. So those are key areas. Now, why we've been looking at Bitcoin dominance over the past couple months is because we're looking at Bitcoin halving, and everyone's talking about a Bitcoin pump going into halving. But you got to remember, in 2016, you could look at the Bitcoin dominance. Around that halving time, it was up around 95%. Alts were not really a thing back then. That only happened in 2017 with ICOs and all these ERC20 tokens and all that stuff. That's when alts really went crazy. And then we had the drop, in Bitcoin dominance. Basically, that bottomed at the start of 2018 at 35%. So if you're a whale and you are looking to gather up Bitcoin, prior to halving, what's the best way to do that? The best way to do that is to take lower market cap coins and pump those and then move your funding into BTC. So everybody's looking out for that Bitcoin pump and then dump after halving or up to halving. That could be a key area where the money flushes from alts back into Bitcoin as that's starting to bottom after halving or up until halving, however that plays out. But, if you're a big money investor, and this is just my opinion, this is exactly what I would do. I would play around in those low market cap coins. I would pump those. I would run those up. Some of those are doing really well. Some are 2x, 3x. Bitcoin's very hard to move. It's got the highest market cap. The same amount of money is not going to move, Bitcoin like it would in an altcoin. So you got to remember that, guys. They're using those things to gather more Bitcoin. I mean, that's just my opinion, but that makes the most sense to me. That's why you see Bitcoin price rising, but Bitcoin dominance falling. Now, if we take a look at the total market cap minus Bitcoin, you'll see that we broke out of this long-term diagonal downtrend resistance. We had a retest on the the next couple days, and we're starting to make our way back up to that 135 billion range, which was our June tops from 2019. We have to see how it reacts there. Once it gets up to there, I think it definitely will get up there. You'll definitely see some alts reach their June highs from last year. Some won't get that far. Some will break that 2019 high. ETC's broken that high already. Ethereum's starting to climb up there. Litecoin still has a ways to go. Litecoin, I think, is one of those ones that you won't see June highs be reached again. Ethereum, I think you'll see it. Like I said, ETC broke it. Dash, you might see it in Dash. Neo, you could probably see it in Neo. Neo doesn't have much to go to get back to June highs. You could definitely see it in Neo. What's another one we were looking at? ADA, I believe you could probably, let's see, ADA 10 cents. Yeah, you could see it in ADA. I just think that Litecoin is going to, follow its historical pattern and fall back into that flat channel. And then the Litecoin to Bitcoin ratio could possibly dump. So let's go over some alts real quick. Bitcoin's climbing nicely, nice and slow, nice and steady. It's got EMA ribbon support. We are in this rising wedge on the RSI on the daily. We have to see, if that pops up. There isn't really much room to the upside. That'll probably top out around 86 if it does break up, or it could break down. We'll take a look at the weekly. Weekly looks really strong for the past month or so. We broke out of that. I guess you could call that a bull flag. We came back down the very next week, retested the top of that trend line, and which was actually the neutral ribbon at that point. The ribbon became neutral. We tested that, and then we broke back up for the next 3 weeks. So right now we got a little bit of indecision, bullish indecision. It's just moving sideways this week. Slow climb. Some alts are popping off this week, and the monthly actually looks really beautiful on Bitcoin. That's going to continue to rise, and we'll see how that goes. Halving is coming up in May, so we could see a nice pop in price followed by a correction going down into May. Let's look at Dash BTC. Yeah, so Dash BTC is basically moving sideways right above that EMA ribbon. We got the 200 daily EMA to cross under, so now we have a full bullish fan out. We'll throw up the Bollinger Bands because I know those are going to be tight. Yep, those came back up. Those are super tight now. You could expect a move coming in the near future, I would say, on Dash. It's using the mid-B band support, which is the 20-day. Yeah, that's the 20-day moving average. So that's using that as support. So this is hinting towards upside in the Dash BTC pairing. I would probably, if it does dump down, you're going to look to 115, maybe even as low as 1%, somewhere around there for the Bitcoin pairing. RSI is pretty much cooled down a little bit. It's hovering around 57, 58% right now, which was a swing high top over here. Let's look at the USD pairing. Yeah, so that basically put in, that's almost like a bull pennant. You got an ascending triangle right here. You got some resistance up pretty much there. You got this incline line here. Stretch that out to over there. So this doesn't have much time left. The B bands are pinching down. You have a full bullish fan out there, which is good. If this breaks, I believe the target is going to be, it's going to be 30% on the wedge. But if you have this as a flag, which the pole isn't really super long. The flagpole is not really super long, but I would say you're going to target June highs, around 215 and under. So I would say between 180 and 215 would be my targets on Dash if that broke bullishly. Let's look at DigiByte. That's actually moving pretty decent. Yeah, so like I said in my last DigiByte video, we did get resistance around 80.81, which is that diagonal downtrend resistance. The EMA ribbon has flipped neutral. Yesterday, basically, it turned neutral. So we're working on that. We're using that as support. The RSI has broken bullish, it looks like. Yeah, we popped over that. if we go out to the monthly on DigiByte, this is my fear for DigiByte right here. So that's why you saw all those marks on the RSI. This is about the monthly RSI. So right here you have the purple circle. You basically had flat line on RSI, similar to this. So this white line is something that I drew, which basically replicates this move here. So if that is to happen, we'll basically run into this downtrend resistance like it did here and then fall down lower, possibly in that 40 to 45 sat range while the RSI takes a dump down to like the high 30s before coming back up. So if you guys can see, this orange dashed line was Bitcoin, the last Bitcoin halving. It was basically moving sideways there, fell down into that falling wedge and then broke up bullishly. This was about 8 months, so 243 days from the time of Bitcoin halving up until the time that it really broke out. So if we did have something similar to that, you're going to be looking at a breakout, towards the beginning of 2021. And this was a breakout, towards the end of the first quarter of 2017. So time-wise, that pretty much lines up time-wise. We have to see if 8081 breaks. If that does break on the falling wedge, then we'll be looking at that other downtrend resistance line, which is, I believe, 90s. Let's see. Yeah, so we're going to be looking to like the mid to low 90 range. You do have that 200 daily EMA falling down. It looks like it might be starting to flatten now. Not really. It's not flattening off yet. We're definitely going to have to we're going to have to climb higher to get that to flatten off. So we have to maintain this. This could fall back down and retest the bottom of this wedge. If it does, more than likely it's going to break down into this 50s and 40 sat level like I was talking about. So just watch that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it on DigiByte pairing. The USD pairing, that's actually looking pretty decent. We got a bullish cross on the EMA ribbon. We are now using the 200 daily as support. This is one of the few coins that really hasn't made significant gains. I'm sure there's plenty of others considering there's 6,000 coins out there, but out of the coins with the best communities and the best future and projects and stuff like that, I would say that DigiByte is one that hasn't really made massive gains like some of the other ones have. But they finally got over the 200 daily EMA. We have to see if that holds and if it moves up higher from there. I would like to see it test. I would like to see it test a penny again and see what happens there. And if we do break that, maybe go to like 1.7 cents or something like that, where these wicks up here were. That's pretty much it on DigiByte. Ethereum Classic, I've been in a position with Ethereum Classic. I have a position open from, I believe, 1174. My target for that is actually pretty decent. We'll throw the Bollinger Bands on. Yeah, the bands are starting to tighten up. It is using the mid B band, the 20-day period moving average, as support there. As you saw last night, it dumped down. It was bought back up fairly quickly. We do have a full bullish EMA ribbon flip, and it has been putting in, like steps going up. This is one that is on a parabolic curve. We have to see if this pops here. This looks like it could be a three-step curve, like basically like this. Once that third step hits, you can have like a 2x blow off top potentially. That's targets for that are probably going to be about $20, which is around. If we go out to the monthly, pull the B bands off. Pretty much where these wicks are. You have a lot of wick action up here. Plenty of wicks here. You have retest wicks here, bodies and wicks here. You have a wick here. So this is a high liquidity area around somewhere between, we'll say, pretty much 20 to 26 or so, I would say. So that's going to be the target for me if this actually does go parabolic. It had a huge month in January. It went up 150%. This could just be a cool down month for it, before it pops off again. So we have to see. Yeah, so that's just moving sideways right now. It's got support. It's waiting for the B bands to tighten up still, and that should pop off fairly soon, one way or another. It's either going to go up, go up or down fairly soon, I would think. That is a pretty decent consolidation period in a tight zone, so I could see that hitting off soon. RSI looks pretty good. We're underneath our overbought area. We do have some RSI support right around 64 and a half. We have support there. We have to see if that breaks. That's pretty much a nice area because you guys can see that there's a lot of action under that 64 range. So if we do pop off from here, that would be nice. And then we'll see what our targets are when we start moving to the upside. But pretty much everything's just sideways. It's maybe slightly down today. Ethereum's pretty much sideways. That thing's been going parabolic. That has a full fan out now. Today we got the full fan out. The 200 crossed under the ribbon. So that's a full bullish fan out there. Bollinger Bands on Ethereum, they're stretched, so that might move sideways a little bit. That might make another step, a little bit of sideways consolidation before moving higher. If it does, let those B bands catch up. So it is oversold on the RSI, overbought, excuse me. It's overbought on the RSI. That has to probably move sideways and cool down a little bit before making another move. Link has been moving pretty well. We have to see what happens with that. That has a full. We'll go to this one. Yeah, that broke out about a week ago or so. that broke out of the wedge. That has a full fan out. That looks parabolic now. RSI looks overbought, but it's still making higher highs, which is nice. Just based on past history, we should be able to test that high $4 range. Came close. We had about 430 or so as a high, 425. So yeah, I would say that's going to hit 480s its next resistance, and then that could move sideways or pull back to the ribbon band. So link for me right now, of course, none of this is financial advice. Link for me right now is a little bit of a question mark. I would not be buying link here, but again, this is not financial advice. You do what you want to do with your own money. Litecoin. So the Litecoin Ethereum actually broke bearishly. It broke bearishly on this long trend line here back from 2017. So right now, Ethereum, if this continues like this, Ethereum will continue to make more money for you than Litecoin will. I wouldn't, I personally don't really trade Ethereum too much. But this is a trend line that has to be looked at just for the overall sentiment and movement of the market. Litecoin had a little bit of a dip last night, but it was bought back up by the morning time for me. That dipped down to 77.25, and then right now it's holding about 81. So that got bought back up fairly quickly. That looks like it's on, a nice trajectory there. There's going to definitely be some major resistance at that $100 level. RSI is just barely in the overbought range, so we have to see what happens with that. We're just about getting our full bullish fan out. The 200-day is about 1 or 2 days away from crossing under that ribbon, so then we'll have a full bullish fan out on that. The problem with Litecoin right now to me is the fact that the ratio has not moved much. So I would like to see the 200 cross under the ribbon and we get a full bullish fan out there. I would like to see break 0.008. I would like to see it move to 0.01, and I would like it to see it break 0.01, obviously, because I want to see the price go up. But more so because of the pattern that laid out in the last Bitcoin halving, which we can see here. I threw up a sign line to see if we can kind of use that to predict tops and bottoms of Litecoin, just as far as time frames are concerned. It does a pretty decent job of finding tops and bottoms. It pretty much got this top here. It got this sideways movement here. Got the top here. Got the top here. And these weren't too far off. This is predicting March, and we had in December. This is predicting June. We got in November. So there's a little bit of discrepancy there, which it's not going to be perfect, but it does a pretty decent job. To me, this is actually showing still some more downside, which is similar to what we had here, which is the last Bitcoin halving. So you see, we basically kind of had that fake out where we move into the EMA ribbon, and then afterwards, once Litecoin was basically done topping off for the year, it fell back down and then dumped. So that means the next top for the ratio would not be until Q1 of 2021. So I threw up the sign line yesterday to see if I could kind of predict timelines and stuff with it. It does a pretty good job. So if we do break back down from that on the ratio, you're going to see it a ratio top, probably in Q1 of 2021, give or take a couple months. So we kind of went over Litecoin pricing. I could see something like anywhere between like 100 and 125, I would say, is going to be your yearly top, unless it breaks out towards Q4 of this year. So that's going to pop up somewhere in that green wedge, in my opinion. It won't go back up to June highs. It'll be close, but then it could fall back down as this 200 flattens off and then kind of just rest along that, similar to what it did during the last cycle. We're looking at the week here, so we'll go back to the daily. Yeah, so you guys can see that we had the pop right before Bitcoin halving there. We didn't quite get to the trend line. We came back down as a 200 daily EMA pulled up and then kind of hovered around that $4 range. So basically, that Litecoin loves the fours. It had like a $40 top originally. It came back down, consolidated around $4. It hit a $400 top and came back down and kind of consolidated around $40 again. So for some reason, Litecoin loves the fours, but I could definitely see that 200 EMA getting pulled up probably to like maybe the $70 range. I would say like between 60 and 70, somewhere in that range, and then have it consolidate there before breaking out. So that's Litecoin. NEO, we kind of talked about real quick. I could definitely see that getting back to June highs, like 18, 19, $20 or something like that. XRP's killing it. That'll probably get back up to June highs, 50 cents. So that's pretty much it, guys. So Bitcoin dominance is bleeding out, like we predicted. The total market cap is climbing for alts. That's going to more than likely get some stuff back to June highs. That looks really good. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for this one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on your way out, please, and check out our Discord. I'll have a link in the description below. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.